Supply Network Dynamics Chapter 7, Part 5. The case itself. So this was a big project for the company that we will call TechCo. In this case we do not use the actual name of the company because as this was a failure, very few companies love to be identified with a failure. But it was a big multinational semiconductor company, a European company, tens of thousands of employees working, and their semiconductors are used in a variety of settings. And this was one of their bigger projects. They do hundreds of projects at a time, but this was really set to be a very important project to them. It was set in the automotive market, and in the automotive market the time to market is critical. And why is that? Well, there is a notion of a model year in the automotive business. A car may cost tens of thousands of dollars or euros, but it will not leave the assembly line if there's one part of a few dollar or euro missing. So you really have to be sure that at the start of the development of the production of the new type of car, everything is there. You cannot delay until you're well, just a few weeks because it's not quite ready there. And that's the notion of a model year. Then really the time is frozen of all the specs of all the components and sub-assemblies. And of course there was in this case a competitive situation, so they really did their best to have a straightforward architecture to de-risk the project. It was for the business line car, which is an important part of the overall business of TechCo. This was the most important project with a budget of over 60 million euros and some 100 man-year in total consumed. And the project staffing had to be started as soon as possible. So that's the background of the project. Its structure was as follows. There were 3 stages to be met. Stage 1, 2 and 3, not surprising. Each of them followed by a gate, decision gate, and in the end there was some 11 weeks of slack in the overall project before that model year 2012, as a couple of years in the future, would have to be met. So in the beginning they had some overall project slack. And now what happened? In week 1 the main problem was people. The project didn't start off with all the people they needed. They had to hire them, and hiring them turned out to be a lot more complex than they thought. As a result, in the second phase, the progress was not as much as they wanted it to be. They were behind schedule. And there's already an indication that, well, we may not need more budget to make up for this. They kept the understaffing after these budget issues. The progress wasn't as fast as they will, and as a result the main problem then became the slack again in the planning. They had not enough people to the progress simply wasn't enough to finish the project on time. This was already, in retrospect, the deadly phase, but what also happened on top of this is that since most of the budget has been consumed and we are now in a new year, there was simply not enough budget to do the project, and so the vacancies were frozen and they were too late with not enough people, so really, technically speaking, dead. Then the due date was postponed with 1 year, but which meant that it was clear to the customer that they wouldn't make model year 2012. They were still allowed to go ahead with model year 2013, but model year 2013 they would have to meet without extra budget and with higher specs, of course, from the customer, who said, well, you know, we are 1 year further down the road. I now want better performance and not a higher price. So that proved to be difficult, and the new gate 1 was already delayed and the project was actually killed. So that's the story of what actually happened. Let's see why things happened